Today, we're talking about one of the biggest transitions in life. And it's not really about ending a career. It's about starting a whole new project, the project of building a new chapter of purpose brick by brick.
The central existential challenge of later life is that the deep, pervasive sense of meaning that sustained you through decades of work and active parenting does not automatically transfer to retirement. It must be actively and intentionally rebuilt from the ground up. Now, those words probably hit home for a lot of you. It's that quiet, kind of unsettling feeling that something's missing, right? Even when you've got all the freedom in the world.
So let's start by diving right into that hidden emptiness. We're going to really look at it. But more importantly, we're going to lay out a clear blueprint for rebuilding your sense of meaning. And look, this is not about just staying busy. It's about building a purpose that's strong, that's yours, and that will last for decades to come. First, we have to understand the challenge. Then, we can master it.
You know, this feeling actually has a name. It's called the Existential Void. It's that deep, nagging emptiness that can show up when the structures that ran your life, your job, your role as a parent, suddenly disappear. Now, the most important thing I want you to hear is this. This is not a personal failing. It is not a sign you're doing retirement wrong. It's a common, predictable thing that happens when the old system changes.
And that's the great paradox of this whole thing, isn't it? You spend decades looking forward to the freedom. No more alarm clocks, no more deadlines, no more rush hour. But what nobody really tells you is that when you lose the demands, you also lose the framework. And that framework, whether you liked it or not, gave your days a shape. It gave you an identity.
So why does it feel like those old, reliable sources of meaning just evaporate? It's not because your past doesn't matter anymore. It's because the whole architecture that held up that meaning has been taken down. What we're really looking at is a structural collapse.
I'm gonna say this again because it is absolutely crucial. The problem isn't you, it's the structure. That feeling of being adrift, of being a little bit lost, that's just a symptom of a massive system change. So the very first step right now is to let go of any self-blame. It's not your fault, it's just what happens.
So, let's take a look at what that old structure was actually made of. For most of your life, your purpose was probably held up by what we can call the 3 pillars of extrinsic meaning. First, there was required effort. Just the simple fact that you had to get up and do things. That daily grind gave you a rhythm. Second, external validation. This was the paycheck, the promotion, the pat on the back, the thank you from a client. It was the outside world telling you, hey, you're doing a good job. And third, tangible contribution. You could see the results of your work, a finished project, a happy customer, your kids growing up. It was proof that you mattered. And then, retirement comes along and knocks down all 3 pillars at once.
Now, without that structure, it is so easy to fall into a trap. We get stuck in what's called retrospective meaning, always looking backward, reliving past glories just to feel good about ourselves. And honoring your past is great, but living in it, that's a recipe for feeling stuck. The real task, the urgent job now, is to shift to prospective meaning. It's about looking forward and actively building a new purpose for the future.
Okay, so if the old building is collapsed, what do we build in its place? This is where we get to the good stuff, the solution. We're about to lay out a brand new blueprint for a life that you direct, built on a foundation that can never be taken away from you.
And here it is, the single most powerful idea we're going to talk about today. Meaning, in this chapter of your life, is a self-directed project. It's not going to be handed to you by a boss or a role anymore. You have to choose it, you have to build it, and you have to nurture it. For you, by you. And that's not a burden. That is the ultimate freedom.
So what are our new building materials? Well, to replace those old extrinsic pillars, we're going to build 3 pillars of intrinsic meaning. Think of it as PIM. These are creative value, experiential value, and attitudinal value. And the magic is, they come from inside you, which makes them incredibly strong and stable. Let's break them down.
Pillar number 1 is creative value. This is all about our basic human need to make things, to generate, to put something out into the world. And listen, this does not mean you have to become Picasso. It could be mentoring someone, finally planting that vegetable garden, writing down your family stories, or volunteering your skills somewhere. It's about contributing because you want to, not because you have to.
Pillar 2 is experiential value, and this is a beautiful one. It's the art of appreciation. It's about shifting gears from just passively going through your day to actively savoring it. I mean, really tasting that first cup of coffee in the morning, feeling the sun on your face during a walk, getting lost in a piece of music. It's an active practice of finding meaning and richness in the here and now.
And our third pillar, attitudinal value. Well, this one is the superpower that really only comes with age. It's about wisdom.
It's your ability to look back at your whole life, the good, the bad, the ugly, and weave it all into a meaningful story. It's about finding meaning not in what happened to you, but in the attitude you choose to take toward it all, turning your experiences into true wisdom.
All right, that's the blueprint. We know the pillars we need to build. So, let's get practical. How do you actually pick up a hammer and start building this new foundation? This next part is a simple 4-step plan to get your reconstruction project started today.
Here's the game plan. We're going to walk through these 4 steps together. First, the value alignment audit. Second, the creative time block. Third, the intentional savoring ritual. And fourth, the attitudinal narrative script. Each one is designed to help you build one of those intrinsic pillars we just talked about.
Step 1 is just a quick, honest check-in with yourself. It's the value alignment audit. Take a look at how you spend a typical week. Seriously, grab a piece of paper. On one side, list the things you do that already connect to creative, experiential, or attitudinal value. Maybe it's that walk you take or tinkering in the workshop. On the other side, list how you actually spend your time. We're not judging here, we're just gathering data. We want to see where your time is really going.
Step 2 is how we replace that required effort pillar we lost. It's the creative time block commitment. Look at your audit and pick just one creative activity you want to do more of. Now, the crucial part. Schedule it. Put it in your calendar and treat it like the most important meeting of your week, because it is. It's non-negotiable. It's this discipline that creates the new structure our brains crave. But this time, it's pointed toward your passion, not your old job. Step 3 builds up your experiential value pillar. It's the intentional savoring ritual. Now this one sounds so simple, but I promise you its power is in the consistency. Just dedicate 10 minutes every single day to mindfully appreciating something. Maybe it's your morning tea, a favorite song, a conversation with a friend. This simple practice trains your brain to find deep satisfaction from the inside, which slowly replaces that old need for validation from the outside world.
And finally, step 4 helps us build that attitudinal value. This is where you become the author of your own story. Think about a challenge you faced in the past. Instead of just seeing it as a tough time, reflect on what you learned. How did it make you stronger? What wisdom did you gain? You're not changing the past, you're changing your relationship to it. You're connecting the dots to see the story of your own resilience.
You know, as you start to do these things, something really remarkable begins to happen. You start to feel a totally different kind of purpose growing. It's deeper. Let's talk about why this internal work creates a sense of meaning that is truly built to last. And this is just a fundamental truth. Intrinsic purpose, the kind you build yourself from the inside out, is way more resilient and is even protective of your cognitive health, more so than any job title you ever had. Why? Because no one can ever take it away from you. It's yours.
So please, don't think of this as just finding a new hobby. This intentional, deliberate work of building meaning is your ultimate defense against the apathy and despair that can sometimes creep in. It's a fundamental practice for your well-being for the long haul. Okay, we've talked about the why, the what, and the how. We've got the theory and the practice. But now, it all boils down to one simple thing, laying the very first stone. Let's make this real.
If you take only one thing away from our time together, let it be this. The problem, that empty feeling, comes from the collapse of your old external pillars: effort, validation, and contribution. The solution is to intentionally build new internal pillars: creative, experiential, and attitudinal value. That's it. That's how you build a purpose that lasts.
So now the question comes back to you. It's the only question that matters right now. Not what you might do someday, but what is your first tangible step to start this reconstruction project? Because a blueprint is just a piece of paper until you start to build.
So here is your gentle challenge. Right now, before you do anything else, identify just one activity that taps into your creative value. Just one. Then pull out your calendar and schedule a block of time for it tomorrow. And make it non-negotiable. That's it. That single simple action is the first stone you lay.
As we close, just remember that feeling of emptiness isn't a sign that things are over. It's a call to action. It's a signal that it's time to build new anchors for yourself. The way forward is through those 3 pillars, using your creative value to contribute, your experiential value to appreciate, and your attitudinal value to find wisdom. By committing to this process, starting with that one small step tomorrow, you are making sure that your final chapter isn't just an afterthought. You're ensuring it becomes your masterpiece, defined by deep, self-chosen significance, resilience, and a quiet, enduring joy. You are the architect of what comes next.